A-D-N.
It's HeadphonesNeil!
What's up, guys, and welcome back to HeadphonesNeil Reviews. I'm your host, as always, HeadphonesNeil, bringing you my latest set of updates and reviews and all of that good stuff for this week. It's not going to be quite as long of an episode as last week's episode or the Memorial Weekend episode, but I still thought I would get this set of reviews out so that for next week's episode I can do a special review if that works out. We're going to have the final review for my Grand Theft Auto San Andreas gameplay and that sort of stuff. So with that being said, it's going to basically be more or less the usual stuff in one extra movie review, so let's jump right into it. So to start it off, I did have a chance to watch the episode 4 of The Walking Dead Dead City in Season 2, Feisty Friendly. It was an interesting episode in that we have a zombie fight because we have the Dama lady and the Barazza guy trying to make a deal, preparing for the team up. It seems to go sideways because of the Croat, but Negan is able to step in and have the deal happen. So it kind of works out as far as the Dama having the idea of having Negan there because the Croat gets easily offended. He's not exactly a people person. He's kind of really overly direct and to the point and all that stuff. So it was an interesting episode. So I'm kind of curious to see what we do here. We do have Negan and Maggie talking as far as what's going on and having a quick chat about what's going on, where people are and what's going on, and potentially Herschel having Stockholm Syndrome and working for the Dama still and wanting to be like helping her out and all of that stuff. So overall still proceeding to be a very interesting season, so I can't wait to see where they go from here and what they do and all of that stuff. As far as the Big Bang Theory goes, I'm done with season 6. I'm started into season 7. It feels like season 6 was kind of a stepping stone season because now that Sheldon, Leonard, and Howard are in relationships, Raj is still on the fence and having trouble dating and all of that stuff. We're kind of in the middle between the actual weddings. I still don't remember what happened with Raj and his relationships. Just he's always had trouble, and he had the dog for a little while, and all of that stuff. So it's kind of that transition as far as Howard. Well, I guess Howard is technically married to Bernadette already, but Leonard and Penny are on the way. Sheldon and Amy are kind of on their way. You know, they've started to drop the hints of what's happening there. So I'm into season 7, so we'll see how the second half of the show goes. But that's kind of where I'm at with that. And in case you didn't hear for this week, Captain America Brave New World is now available on streaming. So if you have a Disney Plus subscription, you can watch it there. So I finally had a chance to give it a watch, and overall, I thought it was only an okay of a movie. Not really knowing where it wanted to go with anything, because they introduced the adamantium as a brand new super strong metal to go up against vibranium. So I thought, okay, well maybe that's what this is all going to be about. But they spent a lot of time with the Red Hulk stuff and a brief quick scene about that, and then kind of to reconcile Harrison Ford, president character guy, with his daughter. So and then having kind of a film for Sam Wilson as Captain America to kind of come to terms and grips with why he should be Captain America, having a quick chat with Bucky about it. So it's kind of just all motivation and understanding that the reason why first Captain America picked him to be Captain America was because he has those doubts and hesitations, and he has heart, so super soldier serum or not. it's what he has on the inside that makes him a good Captain America. But I kind of thought that they would do a little bit more as far as the adamantium stuff or what's going on. And then they also had, they started the movie off with the celestial stuff. So I thought maybe that's what they're going to go with, something along those lines. But they didn't really do that. So they weren't really, they were trying to do a few different storylines, but then they didn't really tie it together well. But then they also didn't present each line very well. So they tried to do like 3 parts to a season, but then they didn't do a good finale, so I'm not quite sure what they were aiming to do with it. But reading some stuff online, I guess this is supposed to tie in directly or not directly, but tie in with Bucky as far as what's happening in the Thunderbolts. So I guess whenever I have a chance to watch that, we'll see how that plays out. But as far as Brave New World on its own, I'm not quite sure where they were trying to go with it, so we'll see how they present the rest of the phase and what they do with maybe mutants and X-Men and all of that sort of stuff. See if, ultimately it feels like that's what they're going for, is having the X-Men as part of the MCU, but it's kind of up in the air. Like we had in the first phase, we have Thanos as a big bad villain. We know where we're going with that, but here it's like, it doesn't feel quite as concise, or it feels like they're trying to keep it more up in the open. Like we do have a lot of story arcs to put together, so they're trying to get all the stories out and then have something all the way at the end or something. But all that being said, we'll see how it goes, and then when I have a chance to watch Thunderbolts, I'll give that a watch and see how that holds up as well. So as far as the final review for this week, I am now done with the Las Venturas part of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. It was a kind of interesting area, kind of relatively small compared to like San Fierro and Los Santos, but basically you're in Las Vegas, you're helping Woozie with his casino stuff, you're helping a mobster who's kind of like the godfather and his nephew or son or whoever with their stuff. So, basically Las Vegas mob stuff, and overall it was interesting. Pretty straightforward to get through, except for all the flying stuff, which I was like, it was still kind of a downer for me, but I was like, well, I was able to get through it kind of, and we're basically now that Las Venturas is done, we're now into the end game of CJ going back to Los Santos and dealing with his brother and all the stuff with Smoke and Tenpenny and all of that stuff. So that will be everything that ties out the review for the game there. But overall, Las Venturas was pretty fun. They did a good job of recreating a lot of the major casinos from Las Vegas into the game, so it feels like you're going down the strip, and there's enough NPCs and random stuff going on the strip to make you feel like you're walking in the real life strip in the game. So with that being said, that's really all there is for that. I didn't really think one way or another about it, but overall it was a fun little area. Kind of like a progression of San Fierro, but without all the hills and stuff like that. So I can see how that transition works, because they kept the Woozie stuff going, but then you have Jizzy B in San Fierro, so the mobster stuff in Las Venturas is kind of an extension of that to have a little bit more. And then I can see why having the flying mission in the desert between San Fierro and Las Venturas helps with the Las Venturas story arcs. So not that I like the flying in video games anymore, but I can see why they did that particular training mission for the next area that we're going into. So with that being said, that's all there is for this week's review. So like I said, for next week, we're going to have the review or the final gameplay review for Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. There's one additional thing I have planned for next week's episode, and I'm kind of being cagey about it just because it depends on if I'm able to get enough together to do that review. But if there is, there'll be the usual stuff posted to the blog and YouTube channels and all of that stuff before the review, and then I'll have the review on the podcast as well. And then as a little bit of further planning out right after the Grand Theft Auto gameplay is done, I'll be jumping right into the continuation of the Doom Dark Ages gameplay. So, so next week is going to be the rounding out of GTA San Andreas. I'll probably do a hot take review or I'll have that up probably before next week's episode, just so there's something out there to start the review, and then a final longer form review on the podcast. And then next week will be the continuation for Doom the Dark Ages, and seeing how good, if the game holds up to all the hype that I've been hearing about it. So that is actually all for this particular episode and set of reviews. So if you have any questions, comments, feedback, or anything like that, all of the social media sites I'm on are linked on the website at HeadphonesNeil.reviews. Gameplay videos and podcast episodes and all that can also be found on the YouTube channel at youtube.com/PatelN01. But that is all for this particular episode. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time.